Your Beatitude, thank you for being here with us. With regard to the current situation in Iraq and Syria, the rise of the Islamic State and its massive violations of human rights, the situation of refugees and internally displaced persons, and as well the response brought by Western governments, what is your impression?
Not only impression, but we live a tragic situation. It's kind of a hecatomb for us, because I am the Patriarch of Syriac Catholics, and a large part of our church was living in northern Iraq, and particularly in the plain of Nineveh. Syriac Catholics made more than 40 to 45% of those Christians have been driven out from their homes, their villages, 5 weeks ago, after the what we say, the religious cleansing in Mosul back June 10th. Of course, we are living with our people that tragedy. And I've been 4 weeks ago visiting with them for 6 days with the Syriac Orthodox Patriarch. I am as Syriac Catholic. We did visit most of the centers where they have been allowed to live or to stay. It was really a kind of dramatic situation, and especially we could not answer the question often repeated to us: Patriarch, will you tell us, will you ever return home? That was their question. They lost everything, and they know that this Islamic State militias or army still robbing their houses, their churches, and they are controlling everything, and nobody could push them back. And this is the problem for us: how to convince our people to keep hoping that it will be a day they will return home. And for that, they have to stay where they are now, but in very, very rudimentary conditions of living. They don't have where to stay. They can't send their children to schools, and what to do with many young people staying like that. It will be disastrous also for the elderly, because they don't have the medical care they need. Especially it was in the heat season. That means in August until now, it's really hot in Iraq. It could be over 110 degrees, and this is very, very bad. Therefore, for us, if I may say, we Christians in the Middle East, we've been faithful to the Lord. Our ancestors did stay Christians. They didn't betray the Lord, even when they have been persecuted. They didn't seek the daily bread, but before the word of God. As Jesus said, not only of bread man lives, but of every word from the mouth of God. Otherwise, they could have converted, renegade the Lord, and live much better, surely, than now, as telling human way. And therefore, we feel that as witnesses of the faith, we have been abandoned, betrayed even, by the Western politicians looking just for opportunistic, what we call interest, and going to, for instance, a king of the Saudi Arabia, they know very well that that kingdom is the most retrograde system of ruling, and because it's so rich, they go and ask, what we call its pleasure, or they pander to it because they want its money, and therefore they did betray their values. Last Thursday, we met with President Obama in Washington. I was one of the 5 patriarchs. We met with him. He came and sat down with us for 35 minutes. We told him, I myself, after other patriarchs, not to repeat what they did say, I told him, Mr. President, we come from the Middle East, we speak Arabic, we read Arabic, we understand what is said there, what is written. The fame of the United States is really down in that region. Why? Because the United States doesn't stand for its values, a principle on which it has been founded, to tell that, look, we live in the 21st century, you got to adapt your system of government of the what we call the civilized world, separating religion and state, and protect and accept others, especially the minorities. They don't have the means to defend themselves. And he said to me, yes, the United States has always kept the word in defending the rights of those who are whatsoever vulnerable. I say that, therefore, we say they are the facts. Hundreds of thousands of Christians, they have been left like that. Why? Just because they are Christians. They didn't have any means to fight anyone. They didn't want to go in war against anyone. They didn't have any ambition to take the government whatsoever. But just because they were Christians, they weren't allowed to live.
Your beatitude, what should be done by the American government or European governments in this case?
I call to the civilized world. I don't know who they are, those civilized countries, to stand up for the principles of ethics and to help those who are mostly needing of civil rights, according to the Charter of the Universal Human Rights, that means of 1948. We need that they intervene to liberate those areas being taken with violence by what you call the Islamic State or the ISIS, and to help those driven out to return to their own lands and to live in peace. However, they have to inspire them kind of confidence and trust, because they don't trust anymore. Those who have been driven out 5 weeks ago, the same thing did happen to them back end of June. And I went just 2 days after to tell them, look, we have here the Peshmerga, that means the Kurdish army, they will protect you, go back to your homes and to your villages. And 2 days later, I did celebrate the Mass in the main church of Karakosh, and I was so surprised that the church was full and they did return. But I can tell you that now, for a while, I did regret what I told them, because I could not defend them.